What are we doing? We are over here wasting time with rubber bands. And yeah, is this a warm-up? Who knows? Look, go get loose. Get your legs warm because we running today. That's what y'all should be doing to get loose. Y'all over here playing around with these rubber bands, man. Listen, dog. It's serious, man. Y'all was the laughing stock of Oakland.
Let me paint you a picture. Your team just lost to the worst team in the WNBA from last season, a team that won 9 games. You gave up 107 points to a roster that finished dead last, at home, on national television on opening night, and the very next day at practice, your players are playing with rubber bands. Not drilling, not grinding film, not running defensive reps until their legs fall off. Rubber bands. That footage is real. That happened. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why it happened, why it matters, and why Indiana Fever fans should be genuinely scared right now. Let's set the scene.
Look at this. Oh, you got Kelsey and Shatori Walker-Kimbrough talking about what they ate yesterday. They talking about the new reality TV show coming out. They talking about Love Island. Like, come on, man. You see what I'm saying? It's a bunch of wasted time that's going on. It's a bunch of wasted time that's going on.
May 2025, Indiana Fever season opener against the Dallas Wings, a team that just 12 months ago had the worst record in the entire league, a team that, by any statistical measure, should have been a soft landing for a Fever squad loaded with ambition and a franchise player the whole country is watching. Instead, Dallas drops 107, Indiana scores 104. Final score, Dallas wins by 3, and look, a one-game sample doesn't sink a season.
Yeah, I mean, I think she'll do more today. So we'll do more in practice today, and then we'll, again, evaluate after every day. I know that it's a boring answer, but it's the thing that, you know, you do when you come back from injury. It's like you go through a practice, you add a little bit more. You see how you are post-practice, you see how you are the next day, and then we evaluate. It really, literally is one day at a time.
You mentioned with Taylor.
I guess Monique Billings is still one day at a time. It's not like we can expect an honest.
I know that. You know that. But what happens after the loss? That's the story. Because within 48 hours of that embarrassing opener, footage surfaced from the Fever's practice facility. And what you see in that footage is not a team in crisis mode. It's not a team with urgency. It's not a team that played with their pride on the line and came back ready to fight. It's Kelsey Mitchell laughing. It's chattery Walker-Kimbrough chatting about what she had for dinner. It's players playing with resistance bands like they're killing time at a community gym on a Tuesday afternoon.
Expand upon that, is like injury related or just kind of basic maintenance?
No, it's basic maintenance, and you know, I think when you think about the expansion of medical teams in the W, you know, it's like every other professional team. Like you have more hands on duty and more people on duty and more hands on deck, and you can go back and you can get regular maintenance adjustments. You know, I know everybody's focused on Caitlin, but our other players are going back to get regular maintenance too. So yeah, it's just going to be something that's going to consistently see. I wish I could go get an adjustment at halftime.
Now here's the real question. Is that footage the problem? No. The footage is the symptom. The problem is what created that atmosphere. And that problem has a name. Stephanie White was brought in this offseason to replace Christy Sides. And the pitch was compelling. Former Connecticut Sun head coach. Experienced. Tactically advanced. Someone who could take a talented but raw Fever roster and build it into a genuine championship contender. The assumption was if Christy Sides could get Caitlin Clark to the playoffs with a limited supporting cast, imagine what a more sophisticated coach could do. Here's what nobody planned for. Stephanie White's first press conference after the opening loss was something.
Is it like just like a chiropractor, just kind of works on them, loosens them up? Or?
No, I don't. You have to ask the medical staff exactly what it is. I stay in my lane.
Oh, now you stay in your lane. Yeah, of course. I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming.
Reporter asks a completely reasonable question. Is Caitlin Clark's back situation injury related or just routine maintenance? Simple question. Yes or no would do. Instead, White launches into a 3-minute detour about how the entire WNBA has expanded its medical staff and everyone's getting adjustments these days. And isn't it great that player health is being prioritized league-wide? Nobody asked about the league. They asked about Caitlin Clark, the most watched player in the sport. The reason your arena went from half empty to sold out. The reason national broadcasters are begging for Fever games. She is dealing with something nobody will define. And the head coach is giving you a TED Talk on sports medicine infrastructure. And then, and this is the part that genuinely floors me, a reporter asks a reasonable follow-up, just trying to understand what a chiropractor adjustment actually means for a basketball player's back. White's response?
Is it like just like a chiropractor, just kind of works on them, loosens them up? Or?
No, I don't. You have to ask the medical staff exactly what it is. I stay in my lane.
Oh, now you stay in your lane. Yeah, of course. I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming.
I stay in my lane. And she laughed. Sarcasm aimed at the press in the middle of a 2-day crisis, with her franchise player's health hanging in the air undefined. Let me be very clear about what's happening here. A head coach's entire job is to communicate to her players, to the front office, and yes, to the public through the media. When a coach mocks that process, it doesn't make her look tough. It makes her look like she doesn't have answers. Because if she had answers, she'd give them. The deflection is the message.
The offense, and what can you build upon taking that as you start to gear up for LA?
I liked our pace. I thought our pace was really good. We played fast. We got some open looks. We still got to be better in terms of our ball movement and player movement. We've got to be willing passers, reverse the ball, get multiple touches on the floor, get some paint touches. We scored 104 points, and we're still pretty much in our infancy level in terms of playing together. So that's going to continue to get better. But when you score 104 points, you got to win the game.
Now let's talk basketball, because even if you don't care about media relations and press conference optics, the on-court stuff should have every Fever fan wide awake. After Game 1, White identified the Fever's 2 glaring weaknesses herself: transition defense and ball screen defense. Read that back slowly. Transition defense and ball screen defense. Those are not obscure weaknesses. Those are the 2 most frequent offensive actions in modern WNBA basketball. Half the possessions in this league involve a pick and roll. Every team pushes pace off live ball turnovers. If you can't defend transition and you can't defend the ball screen, you are going to get torched. Not sometimes, not in tough matchups, every single night. The coach knows this. She admitted it publicly. Her own words.
We've got to be better at getting matched up in transition, of getting back in transition, of not giving up so many easy looks, and ball screen defense. Those are 2 areas that were glaring weaknesses in Game 1, and so we're going to continue to work on that.
What's it for you guys going on the road for the first time this season? What's the mindset or the mentality as you guys get a chance to go out to LA and try to get the first win there?
Just continue to get better. Get 1% better every day. We want to clean up some of the things that we had breakdown-wise on the defensive end against.
Glaring weaknesses. So what does the team do the very next day? Rubber bands and casual conversation. Think about that. You have a diagnosed problem. You have the prescription. You know exactly what needs to be repped, drilled, and built into muscle memory before your next game.
Is that just maybe, what do you chalk that up to? Is it fatigue? Is it just players still getting up to speed? How do you do that?
I think it's quite a few things. One, I think it's awareness. If you got either offensive rebound or you got to get back and get matched up. I think too, it's looking for your man in transition, and it's always near man transition. And then I think there's just a urgency to transition from offense to defense. Sometimes it was too busy looking at the refs. Sometimes it was pressure in the ball in the backcourt with multiple players instead of one. Sometimes it was taking chances in the backcourt, and sometimes they just beat us down the floor. So we've got to be able to transition our bodies and our minds quickly from one to the other.
Man, listen,
And the practice the next day looks like a light community yoga session. In Stephanie White's own post-game presser, she said, and this is a direct quote, "When you score 104 points, you have to win that game." She's right. They should have won. They scored 104 points and lost. But framing it that way exposes the other side of the coin that she didn't address. They gave up 107. And until Indiana figures out how to stop a basketball, not score it, stop it. The offense doesn't matter. You can light up the scoreboard every game and still lose every game. Here's where we zoom out, because this isn't just about one bad game or one weird practice. This is a franchise at a crossroads. 12 months ago, Indiana Fever was the most interesting story in American sports. Caitlin Clark was a rookie. The building was electric. Ratings had gone from a few 100,000 viewers to over 2 million on national broadcasts. Season tickets sold out. A new generation of fans, casual fans, sports fans who had never watched a WNBA game in their lives, suddenly cared about Indiana basketball. And all of it, every single bit of that momentum, was built around one player. Caitlin Clark is 23 years old. She has a Nike signature shoe coming. She just signed a multi-million-dollar deal with Wilson. She is, by any commercial metric, the single most important asset in the history of women's professional basketball in this country. The Indiana Fever drafted her. They get to build around her. That is a gift that very few franchises in any sport ever receive. And what are they doing with it? Vague injury updates, sarcastic press conferences, unserious practices, defensive breakdowns that the coaching staff identified and then did nothing to address. Compare that to what's happening elsewhere. New York Liberty, defending champions, are running championship level practices because they expect to compete for a title. Las Vegas Aces under Becky Hammond are dialed in with the same intensity they've had for 3 years. Phoenix is integrating Sato Sabali and Alyssa Thomas into a veteran core that looks more organized on day 5 than Indiana looks right now. Those franchises understand what's at stake. They understand that the window to win is short. They understand that the players watching the culture get built or not built around them are paying attention to everything, and Caitlin Clark, she's paying attention too. Here's the part I want every Fever fan to truly sit with. Right now, Caitlin Clark is locked into the rookie scale CBA. She doesn't have free agency leverage today, but the current collective bargaining agreement expires after this season. The players' union has an opt-out clause. New negotiations are happening right now, and when that new deal gets done, the landscape of women's basketball economics is going to change dramatically. Under the new structure, Caitlin Clark is going to have leverage that no woman in the history of this sport has ever had. And the question Indiana Fever has to answer, the question that every decision they make this season is quietly answering, is this: are you building something worth staying for? Because right now, the rubber bands say no, the press conference jokes say no, the undefined injury updates say no, the unchanged defensive rotations on day 2 of the season say no. Generational players have options, generational players are watching, and generational players remember which buildings treated them like a star and which ones treated them like a commodity. So here's where we land. Was hiring Stephanie White the worst front office decision the Indiana Fever has made since drafting Caitlin Clark? I think the evidence from the first 48 hours of this season makes a strong case that yes, something is wrong in that building. And it starts with leadership. It starts with culture. It starts with whether the people in charge understand the gravity of what they're managing. One bad game, fine, part of a season, but unserious practices, evasive injury communication, defensive breakdowns with no urgency to fix them, and a head coach whose default mode in crisis is sarcasm, that's not a bad weekend. That's a warning sign. I want to hear what you think. Drop a comment. Do you think the Fever can turn this around? Is this just noise from week 1, or is this the beginning of a much bigger problem? Like the video if you want more breakdowns like this. Subscribe if you want to follow this Caitlin Clark era in real time, because it is going to be one wild ride. Keep the vision. We out.